Good evening and welcome to the Timberland Regional School Board. This is a regular meeting starting at 7 o'clock. We're sorry for the delay. It's Wednesday, January 23rd, 2019. Mrs. Belcher, will you call the roll?
Brian Boyle.
Here.
Lee Doobie. Kim Farah.
Here.
Sheila Lowe's.
Here.
Sarah Mockamer.
Here.
Sean O'Neill.
Here.
Kristen Savage.
Present.
Sue Sherman.
Here.
Jennifer Silva.
Here.
Also seated at the board table are the Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Roxanne Wilson, and Student Representative Nick Valhouli. The presence of other district administrators, as well as Timberlane Teacher Association officers, will be reflected in the meeting minutes.
All right, we also stand for a pledge. Nick, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah.
Sue explained it before.
Oh, you don't want me to get it for you?
No. No, I thought it was too far away.
It's kind of far. Do you want to go there?
We have quite a few sets of minutes here, so let's take a look at those if we could. Start with, I have a little list here so I can refer to it. I'd like to start with December 17th, the public minutes of the special board meeting of the 17th of December 2018.
I'll make a motion to approve the December 17th minutes as printed.
Motion by Mr. Boyle. Have I got a second?
Second.
Mr. O'Neill. Any discussion? If not, I'm going to call for a vote so we can move along. All those in favor? Oh.
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Opposed? Abstaining. 2. Next set is January 3rd, the public minutes. January 3rd, 2019, public minutes. I'll entertain a motion when someone's ready.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Mrs. Silva makes a motion. A second.
Second.
Farah. Discussion?
Top of page 2, the assessment report. I'm not sure, did we, I know we had the fourth line down, discussion ensued on recruitment efforts to get more students to take AP courses, a desire to see an increase in AP Science and Math. I thought the discussion was AP Science and Math participation. I don't know, were we talking about increased AP and Math offerings?
I don't know who said that. It was just a
it was
general
offerings.
discussion.
I think it was captured from, I believe, Dr. Farah's comments about the desire to see more students participate in the AP sciences and the maths, and to create more opportunities for them and less engineering. And that's what that is relative to.
So are you suggesting something be removed?
Just offering, because I think we want
Yeah.
to push the participation rates in the offerings that we have.
Okay, in agreement to take out offerings and just make it math participation. That line? Anything else? I'm going to call for a vote. All in favor? 6, 7, opposed, 0, abstaining, 1. The next set is the January 3rd non-public session number 1. These are not sealed.
I'll make a motion to approve the non-public minutes of January 3rd, set 1.
Dr. Farr makes a motion, a second.
I'll second it.
Mr. Boyle makes the second. Discussion. If not, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor of accepting? 6, 7, opposed, 0, abstaining, 1. The other side has the January 3rd session, second session, non-public, again, not sealed.
Motion to accept January 3rd, non-public session 2.
Mrs. Silva makes a motion, a second.
Second.
Dr. Farah. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor? 7. Opposed, 0, abstaining, 1. We are now at January 3rd, non-public session number 3.
I'll make a motion to approve January 3rd, non-public session number 3.
Second.
Dr. Farah makes a motion, Mrs. Silver seconds. That was your voice, Jen? Discussion? Not, all those in favor? 7, opposed, 0, abstaining, 1. On the other side is January 10th, the special meeting after, I believe this is after the deliberative.
Yes.
Correct.
Trying to save some paper here. That's good. I'll entertain a motion.
I don't have anything on the back side of the matrix. I did online.
I'll make a motion to approve the January 10th minutes.
Dr. Farah, second.
I'll second.
Mrs. Markham. Comments, discussion? Yes, Dr. Farah.
Just want to thank Kathy for capturing the comments in that meeting, because it was a very quick meeting.
It was a fast meeting, and
Yes.
a lot got said in
A lot got said very
in a short
quickly.
amount of time.
Right, and there was no audio to go back to, so thank you.
You're welcome.
I second that as well.
Okay, we do appreciate what Mrs. Belcher does. This is not an easy job. Hearing no other discussion or corrections, all those in favor of the special board meeting, January 10th? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, opposed? 0, abstaining, 1. He wasn't there, I forgot, yeah. Well, he was there, but not there.
Right.
January 15th, special board meeting of the 15th,
I got that.
public minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the January 15th minutes.
Dr. Farah makes a motion, a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. O'Neill makes a second. Comments, corrections? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? 7. Opposed? 0. Abstaining? 1.
And then you have one set of
And
sealed
then we have
here.
one set of sealed minutes.
Yeah, we'll come back. I don't think they're not.
So just one page, double-sided. Oh, wait. Hang on, yeah, hang on a
Did we miss
second.
one?
Hang on a second, we need to go back to that special meeting of January 15th. I was not present, I was absent.
Right.
So I apologize, I'm sorry, I need to abstain.
115, so it'll be
can-
two
Can we just make that
abstentions?
602, I'm sorry. I was on a roll. All right, so these are your non-public minutes.
I don't think you were here either.
Fine.
Or were you?
On the 15th, I was.
I'm very confused.
These are sealed.
Yep.
I'll entertain a motion.
The 15th is not.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, Mr. Boyle makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I was
Second.
looking at that.
Dr. Farrer will make a second, and
If there's discussion, you need to go along.
if you want to discuss anything here or changes, we'd have to stop and go into non-public. And I don't know if Jennifer and I would leave.
I would just say this is a corrective action at the very, on the first page, to the, at the very last sentence on that page, just before the time for, of 8:34, it's on there, it says, for the meeting to allow them
Thank you.
versus them.
Also on page 2, right before the motion, I think that date is incorrect.
It should be the January 23rd meeting. Thank you.
Second paragraph,
On which page?
first page, sorry. I believe the second paragraph, first date is also incorrect.
No, that's not incorrect.
No?
October 2017.
Oh.
January 2018 should be October 2017.
Okay, October 2017. So change that.
What is the date you want to change?
January 28th on the second
So I
line
think,
should be October 2017.
if I'm not mistaken, I think that at first the presentation did give the January, I know I didn't make it up, did make that. And
There were
then I think
two-
maybe later on in the
Yeah, there were
presentation, a
two-
second date was provided. So if the board wants me to change it, I'm happy to change it, but I just wanted to clarify that the January 2018 was what was represented at the time during that meeting. That's all.
So we can do this in public, or?
Maybe we should have this discussion in non-public. Maybe
Yeah.
we should hold these to non-public.
Please,
At the end of the evening.
Good idea.
That's okay with me?
please.
Okay, I think that's all the minutes. So you're going to hang on to those non-public ones, put them off to the side, but remember, they are sealed.
And Sue, I'm sorry, I have to jump on the January 15th earlier minutes that you did for non-public. Those should be changed. I was not in attendance at that second
January.
non-public on that same date. So
On the,
my apologies on that as well.
Oh, on
The
this,
special board meeting on January 15th.
Which number? Was there only
so
one?
on
the
the
15th,
special board meeting of the 15th, where
Oh.
I said I had to abstain,
I should be abstaining as well.
Kristen should abstain as well.
Should your name be?
She was there, right?
She
Or
was
I
there.
don't know.
No, I
Were you there?
It's a
don't believe
conundrum. Is that?
Can we just hold this for non-public?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure can.
I think we need to have
Yep.
that
Wanna hold that
discussion
one as
in
well?
Yes,
non-public.
please.
Will do.
Okay.
Okay, student representative, hi Nick.
Hello. Well, I hope everyone stayed warm during this frigid week. Despite the storm, I still have a lot to talk about, so hope everyone's excited. As I'm sure plenty of you have heard, there was a broken water pipe at Atkinson Academy. I just wanted to quickly thank the Atkinson Fire Department for the speedy response and making sure that the building was safe for the students. And all the kids were excited to resume their regular gym classes. So again, thank you to the Atkinson Fire Department. And though this is well ahead of when it's going to be, the Atkinson Academy lip sync is scheduled for Friday, March 8th. So I'm extremely pumped to see that. It's always a good time. So here's another thing that I really want to see. So if anyone in the district gets to record this, please reach out to me because I'd love to see it. On this Friday, January 25th, the Danville Elementary School will be having their mother-son dodgeball game, which I can only imagine how fun it's going to be. So everyone's looking forward to that, including myself. On January 11th, the kids at Sandown North wore their Patriots colors on their Spirit Day, organized by the Student Council. Clearly, that luck carried on to the team because we started off by beating the Chargers, and now we're going to the Super Bowl. So thank you very much to the kids at Sandown North. And I'm glad the kids over there had a good time. And at the TLC at Sandown Central, they rescheduled their grandparents/special persons day to February 7th. I'm sure I can speak for everyone here when I say that we can't wait to see all the pictures and fun that comes with this special day. The kindergarten students there will also be visited by the Museum of Science traveling program on February 21st, and they're going to be constructing bridges and using other aspects of STEAM to further their knowledge and have fun with their peers. And at Pollard School, congratulations to Luke Swanee, Lila Fitzgerald, and Libby Wagnitz on first, second, and third place in that order for the spelling bee. At the middle school, there are still open spots for the ski club in case anyone is interested. It's a great time for students, so I highly encourage it. The 8th grade class was also visited by high schoolers to talk about the classes and future opportunities for the students there. Also, yesterday, there was an incoming freshman night at the PAC, so the 8th graders are preparing for high school, getting other classes set up, so that's always a fun and exciting time. Nerve-wracking, but exciting. Midterm week is upon us at the high school, so there's plenty of studying. But if you find yourself stressed during exam week, if you're at the high school, tomorrow is the last day of stress relief workshops being held by teachers after school. So if you're in high school and looking for a break, you can check the email that Mrs. Cronin sent out for more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. All right, we are on to delegates and individuals. Looks like we have one this evening. Mrs. Doobie?
Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. I wanted to express my appreciation for the steps being taken to tackle the bullying issue at Timberlane Regional Schools, including taking feedback from parents and students. I especially appreciate the no bully graphic on the main page of timberlane.net and the easy access to links and important info for parents. I recently watched the TPAF called How to Bully Proof Your Kid, and I found this to be very informational and helpful. Now that No Bully has been contracted to assist the district with strategies to deal with bullying, I do have a few questions. Number one, how can parents get involved with this effort? Number two, will the PTA be a part of the community outreach for this program? Number three, what other opportunities will there be for parents to be engaged in the No Bully program? I have given this issue a lot of thought, as have many people in our district, and I have a few ideas that I'd like to just share with the board, if I may. I'd like to suggest, number one, themed campaigns for each school. Elementary could be kind. Middle school could be it's cool to be kind. The high school could be if you see something, say something. Also, guest speakers would be helpful to discuss why kids should be kind to each other. Lots can still be done to address this issue, and I truly appreciate TRSD tackling it head on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Doobie. Okay, we are making a few slight changes in the order of our agenda to accommodate one of our board members and some other things that are happening, but we'll start with the pack wall options. Mr. Gary, come on down.
Hi, everyone. Tonight, Craig Jones from Dennis Myers, the Architects, they're a firm out of Manchester, is joining me tonight to kind of walk through the project and kind of the work that we've been doing for the past month or so.
Scroll through there.
So thank you for the opportunity to be involved here at Timberlane. We've been working with the Hampstead crew and really enjoyed our opportunity to be involved down here. So I was asked to take a look, first of all, at some of the issues, the failures on the existing Performing Arts Center, and then put together documents. So we've kind of gone through that process. You guys understand who we are and what we do. So I'll just take a moment to walk you through what some of the problem areas are. So if we look at the red arrows, this is the south end of the building, south face. The first red arrow to the left indicates a window that's been changed at some point. This entire south face of the building has had to have a lot of maintenance done on it in the past. It's present by the arrows on the right picture. The upper arrow shows how there was some flashing that had to be installed just to protect the interior of the wall. The lower right arrow indicates where there was formerly cement board siding. The cement board siding obviously failed enough that it was replaced with vinyl siding. The reason that you would have cement board siding along that base is for protection. So now you've got a vinyl siding that's really brittle, especially in our climate. And at these temperatures, it breaks and again fails. But it was a good patch. It did what it was supposed to. So the maintenance crew has taken care of those issues. But all of the rest of the building continues to see other areas where there are failures. In the upper left corner, you can see where the nails have, as cement board siding, we found in a lot of other projects and working with other contractors throughout the state, this has happened on a lot of schools. So you guys are not alone in what has happened here. There is a difference in expansion and contraction in the wood nailers that are nailed to the outside of the building and the cement board siding. So the cement board heats up or cools down, the wood expands and contracts at a different rate. They start working against each other and it develops a crack, and pretty soon your fasteners fail, which is what happened on the top left corner, or on the right picture you can see where the cement board siding itself, that's more of a panel system, that has cracked all the way through. And you can even see how the nails are starting to kind of work themselves out in that right picture, that lower arrow. In the lower left corner, that's presence of moisture that hit some flashing, and then it wicked up into the cement board siding and caused failure in a different way. Usually, starts by popping the paint. In this case, it made its way all the way back up into the cement board siding itself. On the front of the building, the soffit, some of these are maintenance issues, but it also has to do with the longevity of how much maintenance do you want to do or need to do, and we have proposed using a different material here as well if some of the other parts of the building are going to need replacement. So you can see that the paint is beginning to pop on both the fascia, which is the green part, and the soffit, which is the white underneath. And actually that's more of a gypsum material that's on the soffit currently. So In looking at the building, our most durable, actually, let me ask, are there any questions at this point about the failures of, the cement board siding?
Can you go back a few pictures, just to help me understand? One more. Yeah, that one's fine. This is vinyl. I have, this is
Yes.
vinyl.
Uh-huh,
This is cement
correct.
board. And what's this?
It's also cement board.
That's cement board too.
Different color.
Different color.
Right.
So you're saying like where vinyl attaches to cement board, not a good idea? Or wasn't a good idea? Or was it fixed at a time, at the
No,
time?
well, it's fine to be able to do that. There's a flashing, that piece is okay. So there are panels of cement board on the upper part of the wall, and on the right side of that picture, the whole base is a lap siding
This is
that is
vinyl?
also cement
That's
board.
cement board.
This is
original.
This
That's
is
cement
cement board, but it looks like
That's
clapboard.
that's what it is. That's
Oh,
cement
it's
clapboard.
supposed to look that way. Ah,
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the wall system, just so you understand, it's more of a rain screen. So we have this cement board siding on the very outside. It is nailed to wood nailers that run vertically within the wall, which is over top of an exterior insulation. And then the whole rest of the wall system is within that. Just there are many parts to the wall structure itself. And, as a wall system, it's a great system. It's working the way it was intended to. It's just the failure on the outside.
How is this built? Is this wood frame or is this steel studs?
These are steel studs.
And then the strapping went over the steel studs.
Correct.
So, so you said, when you said it's working and doing what's, so if this comes off, what's underneath is still intact and has been protected by what's been there?
Yeah, from the visual inspection we could do at this point without taking it off, it looks to be that all of the nailers that are behind that cement board siding are in good shape. Now, I'm sure there are areas where there's going to have to be a little rework done, but by and large, that's in good shape.
Okay, go on. I'm sorry, we interrupted
okay.
you, but we don't want to get ahead of you. We don't want to ask questions that pull you ahead, but thank you for going back.
Right. So the exterior of the building, all of the brick and any of your glass areas with the aluminum mullions, and even the green horizontal metal siding is almost, it looks like it's in perfect shape. You would choose masonry because it's going to stand the test of time. It's going to last the longest. And I think this building was scheduled originally to be all masonry, from what I can tell from the details. And so then the cement board siding on the rest of the building was something that was added or taken off. They gave an option. They said, okay, yeah, we can save a lot of money. And they did save a lot of money. It's just that now it's a maintenance issue. So the masonry and the steel siding and the glass are all in great shape. None of that is being proposed to be changed at all because it's held up the way it was supposed to. What needs to be changed is all of the cement board siding, which would be a replacement with a steel siding, very similar to the green, not matching that because this has its own look, and we don't want to change the look per se. It's just getting the appropriate material on the wall so that it can last as long as the original products have lasted. So what we're looking at doing there is adding a horizontal siding that would have concealed fasteners so that we're not going to have any fasteners that could work loose. They would be buried within, just a better way to protect everything. And it has a high Kynar finish on it, which usually a Kynar finish gives you a 40-year. Our product is warranted for 30 years, which is pretty standard. but we would replace all of the cement board siding with this kind of a banded look of horizontal.
And what about that vinyl stuff on the back
That would be replaced as well.
with this metal siding?
Yeah, did I put one more?
Next page, yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah, there are products. Where that vinyl siding is in this
Yeah.
this front right corner. And, you know, this is a little bit different look to bring more of a corrugated, and I use the word corrugated because it's a very durable material. There's two options. Corrugated would have an exposed fastener, which is what I just said we don't want to do, but there are concealed fastener versions of that, which is what I would propose. It's very durable at the base because, you know, at younger schools, we see balls getting kicked against the walls, and anything we can do to even avoid a dent is what we want to do. So I've proposed to bring that banding up a little bit higher on the wall with more of a corrugated look in that gray.
So
And
this would
then,
be once the back side of the building, in your drawing, both sides, but not the front. The front has the bricking and the green.
Top of the front.
at the
top
base,
facade.
right, at the base and all along the front, it would not be replaced. The gray banding
Right,
that
that's
is above the green,
that's that.
which is the front,
Yeah,
technically, there
okay.
would be, there's not as much square footage up
So
there.
the side that's the side that's on the middle school.
Right.
Butted, well, a number of feet, but pretty close. And the side that's on the high school side, those sides would be changed in the back, yes?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And in terms of look, we're trying to tie the front to the back. The back is pretty bland right now.
Yeah.
So we've chosen something that goes a little bit more with that brick color. It's a variation of kind of that brick theme that goes with the front. It dresses up the back. It's the same cost. It just, you know, just is a little bit better look in the back. Then also thinking ahead, eventually there's a lot of cement board siding on the other two schools, so this might be a color scheme that can be easily replicated in the future.
Now, do any of those panels come with insulation with them?
They do. There are panels that come with insulation in them. And when we want to talk about budget end of this, it's not within the budget that was established.
What is,
I didn't think we had established a budget for this.
Well,
had
we established a number.
Well, no, we just threw a number out there
Like a-
because we didn't have any number to go.
placeholder, if you will?
Place it, but we can't,
Right.
It's not that well, now we can't go above it.
that's what I mean.
Well, that's unfortunate, because I would like insulated panels. Because, you know, if you're gonna go to that expense, it seems like you would want it.
What would insulation do versus what's,
Yeah, why don't you talk to us, if you would, about.
Yeah, currently we do have insulation, and we meet even today's energy code. There's 1 inch of rigid insulation on the exterior of the building wall, and then there would be cavity insulation as well inside of that. So in terms of energy, it's a good wall system. If we were going to add insulation, there are other ways to add the insulation without it being within the metal panel system.
Okay, and how much would that increase the R factor by?
We could very easily, you can choose a number, but we would increase it by a minimum of R5. And we could go, we could go R10, we can increase it however much would be desired.
Mm-hmm.
So it puts,
Typically, what do you see people doing on a building like this in terms of what sort of insulation and R factor they're looking to put on?
So
Giving
currently
energy
there's,
costs for a large building like this.
yeah, currently there's 1 inch of rigid insulation on the exterior. We would typically start at 2 inch. If we have a client that wants a super insulated building, we go to an R3. And at that point, you don't even need cavity insulation, although.
so you just put a foam board which interlocks, and then you're sheathing over that.
Correct.
Jen had her hand up, then Sean, thank you.
Earlier, I thought if you can clarify for me, because I thought I heard,
Mhm.
when we talked about it's been doing its job and how it was the wood strap, I thought you said there was insulation on there already
Mhm.
with the wood strapping, with the panels over it.
Correct.
So we already have a certain amount of insulation that's existing.
Right, right. Yeah,
Is
it's,
that
it's a very
adequate?
well-built building from that
Is
standpoint.
what we have adequate, though?
It is adequate, and I talked to Tom early on, that was one of my first questions too, do we want to add the insulation? And he's, you know, it's not consuming that much energy. You know, it's in line with where it should be. The other buildings,
Maybe
I
not
think
so.
are a lot more expensive.
Okay.
Sean?
Yeah, the question I had is, originally, we talked about the original architecture was a complete brick building, and we had through the various history we had for cost-cutting reasons, we went to these products, and we're seeing the result of that. What is generally the cost differential if we could go back to brick and basically finish it as it was intended? Because one of the things I look at this is, you know, you got a 20-year warranty, probably get 30 years out of it. So this means that basically, statistically, every time we're going to be going for a bond, we're just going to be redoing this every 20 years. Probably 20, maybe we get 25 or 30. But as we know, brick is going to last a lot longer. Yeah, it's going to cost us more, but I'd like to at least understand what is that cost factor.
Yeah, can you give us a ballpark figure of, Mr. O'Neill, if that had all been brick as it originally had been, or you were gonna do it now? Just,
Right, if we were going to pay for it now, I would, so we are talking in the neighborhood of 500,000. I'd say it would be, you'd add a million to that.
another million,
So it'd be
15.
1.5 million.
Okay.
Other questions? I mean, they did that, or I was here then, so they,
Right.
without reducing internal things or energy costs, they did make a cut there with the siding, and had quite a presentation on, you know, this would be fine, and we'd be fine, and it would look good, and I don't think it looks good, but
Yeah, and like I
the
said, there
brick
was a
too.
lot.
I love the brick. We all, I mean, the front of the building's quite pretty and quite attractive. So we made a conscious effort to change the siding, cut there, but not cut so many things inside that would affect kids.
Right.
Classrooms.
What is the square footage of this project?
There's 16,000 square feet of, 16,500 square feet of the panel, and then, you know, there are other flashings
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything else that goes into that.
Sheila, question?
I'm on this page.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if we got there yet, so.
Page, we're not there yet. so-
It's on the back of the executive summary.
Your summary.
Very last
So,
page.
Brian, you
In your
might.
packet.
It's down in our package.
It's on the executive summaries, yeah, on the back page, so flip over.
Here it is.
Are you ready to talk about this? Does that, you have a question about that, Sheila?
Yeah, I do. Well, yes, I do. Actually, two questions.
The last page of this.
So this is what we had at facilities. This is what we got
Yeah.
at facilities.
I don't like this one.
So I think,
Go ahead,
before,
Sheila.
just to explain the document too.
Yes, can we have him explain the document and then see?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that document, Craig was nice enough to reach out to a school builder in New Hampshire, who likely wouldn't be bidding on this project, so we could kind of get some numbers that we could work with, right? We didn't want to talk to somebody that would eventually be bidding on it and, you know, violating our own policies. So you can see the initial number here that they came back with. That's using the construction manager. Came in at $753,000. Didn't work. We've already presented a budget to the public of $500,000. I know it was a placeholder. So then we went into savings options, which is down in the left-hand corner, where we're at $497,341. So we presented this at the facilities
Yeah.
committee meeting last week as well.
Yep.
want to give a roundabout explanation what the document is.
Question, Sheila, from that, or you were just wondering what?
I'm actually, what I am questioning is assume that the existing nails are adequate. So, we don't know that, correct? I mean, that's basically what we're saying, is we really don't know if they are going to be okay or not. So that's kind of a big if.
It's an if. I mean, we can see from visual inspection where it's failed that they are fine.
Right.
And so, you know, there wouldn't be a way that they wouldn't be fine in other places. And there is some money in there to rework the areas that may have problems. Because invariably you're right, there's going to be something somewhere.
It's a very close number, is my concern. So if we left it at where it is now, and something goes wrong, that's my concern. The other thing I wanted to ask is the siding allowance by $5. What would that be? Would that not be what we're looking at here?
Those
Or is
were
that what we're
earlier
looking-
discussions, and it was a more expensive panel. So this is the next step down, but it still gave us all of the options that we wanted to have, the concealed fasteners and that type of thing. There is another step down if we can do as an option that would give us a little bit,
I guess
That was the zinc coated and with the channel system, right? The more expensive option. That's on a rail system.
correct.
So it involved
Correct.
more structure
Right.
than what we have. So we'd be adding on top of the nailers, the structure. So that's why you see a $5 increase.
But this is that.
That is, yes.
This number is that.
Correct.
Correct? Okay, that's what I was
Yeah.
trying to, well, I'm just
This
trying to.
number is that.
Well,
The number of $497,341 is the project you just, that you just presented us.
Project. It's not-
that's what I was trying to figure
Yeah.
out is that next step down, that $5 down, is that vinyl now? Are we not looking
No,
at that?
right,
That's what my
it's this
question
metal
is.
product.
Tyvek on a roll.
It just
Yeah.
wasn't your initial recommendation. Your initial recommendation was one step up.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
We had to add 80,000 to that number, and we don't have another 80,000.
What is it? What's the difference in the product?
I'm
The
sorry.
80,000. The next step up, what is it?
So we would put it on a rail system, which is an aluminum rail system that gives a better, more straight attachment. That is what you would typically use if you didn't have nailers at all. So we had looked at that as, what if the nailers, at that point I hadn't visually inspected the building itself, so we didn't know we had the nailers. And it was on a horizontal as opposed, or the rails would have been horizontal, so that we could have done either vertical or horizontal with the metal panels.
So it sounds like it's more of an install, and if you have good strapping, and looks like we avoid most of that issue anyway.
Right, right.
And as whoever the contractor is they're doing it, that'll be part of the bid to do whatever repair is necessary. Maybe even if
Right.
it's 5
500,000.
to 10% of the job, that, I'm sure that could be part of the specs, the actual bid spec.
Right.
Right, right.
Jen, question.
So the number up at the top was higher because of the aluminum rail system, but it was the same actual metal siding, or was the siding a different product as
It
well?
was a different product as well.
What was that?
Yeah.
Just curious.
Well, we went, there are a number of different products that fit this kind of a system. It was a little wider panel. These are clipped a little bit closer together. I'd have to pull up what we had priced at that point, but I also believe it was a thicker gauge material.
Other questions?
If I can, sir. By taking it down to this level, though, you don't foresee that we're going to be sitting here doing this again in more expedited fashion by, what did you say? Well, clearly the numbers are higher, but
Right.
I don't want to, it seems like what we did was, again, corners were cut before, so now we're sitting here and paying for it. I don't want to be sitting here in 5 or 10 years doing the same thing again, or the day after the warranty expires.
We've been
going,
doing
"This
that for
doesn't
40
work."
years at the middle
Right.
school.
Well, I don't want to continue the trend,
One
so.
test after another at the middle
I
school,
do want to just answer that real quick. Is
Yeah.
we don't look. I mean,
my opinion.
kind of when you're doing this project, this type of project, I'd label more value engineering more so than cutting corners, right? So, like on any project, we could have gone with masonry, but we realized the budget didn't fit, and then we went to a product. But we still want a product that's going to be a 30-plus year product. So, I mean, I don't want to make it seem like we're installing a product that's going to fail.
Well, that's,
It was more about meeting a budget and still having.
Right.
and that's, I
something
just
that's
want to know
gonna
we have
last.
confidence that we're not going to be sitting here doing this again with this product, and we're not making a cut that's going to then
Right.
bring us back here sooner than we need to be.
Right. In terms of the product, I feel confident in it that it has the longevity that it's much. Okay, so it has a 30-year warranty on the panel, and that's any other, from fading, and we don't see many problems with the metal panels.
Okay.
So if you were even looking at this in 40 years, that's me speaking. If we're looking at this in 40 years, I'd say it didn't last as long as I thought it would.
Now, the same cement board stuff is on the middle school and on the high school. Not all the way around, but in certain places.
Correct.
But the middle school's pretty much the whole,
Most of the middle schools are stucco and EFIS product.
right,
But
But
you
there
do,
are
there are
places-
portions on the middle school that have this,
Yeah.
portions on the high school,
right.
specifically right outside the cafeteria, that bump out that was added, has that same material.
Other questions? You satisfied with this? Yes, Jen?
So the next step, we're looking at this, we know this is a warrant article that we
Right,
have.
right.
And so if that passes, then we would be looking to put this out to bid,
Right.
even though we, oh gosh, am I drawing a blank for a word here? We waived the policy so that you could do this part of the work, but we
Right,
would not be
right.
waiving the policy for the actual bidding the work if it passes.
That would
With
be
the
the
voters.
board's
That's the
call,
board
but I don't
decision.
believe it would be in the best interest. I think we can get a competitive bid process on this project.
I would like this kind of a, not necessarily this long, but a presentation similar to this on the deliberative floor. So our voters know that we've done our work, we've listened to a good presentation, with some good pictures and, graphics that would help our voters understand what they're voting for.
Would we also, at the deliberative, would we be seeking to go up to the 753,000, or are we staying at the 500 grand that we have?
If I could just speak to that, the one concern I had, aside from material selection, is in order to get to that savings, we eliminated a contingency, right? And on something, on a project like this, anywhere from the 7 to 10% range may make sense, right? Because we want to have a little bit in there for the unknowns, right? Once we start peeling off the siding. That's the only thing that, that's what I would recommend, is carrying a contingency.
And along with that might be the time frame when this, so this is in today's dollars, assuming this was happening immediately this spring. If this is not able to be done till later, we saw a 3% escalation in construction costs, in terms of labor and material last year. What's it gonna be this year? So that plays into the contingency.
So to answer Sean's question, are we interested in proposing on the floor that we raise that number up a bit higher than the 500, or are we satisfied at 500?
I mean, because the other
I
part.
don't want to cut it.
Well, the other part I hear is I also see, we're reducing, and I understand the point that you're doing it, you're just looking at where you could reduce cost. Eliminating performance and payments bonds, I mean, those are put in there to protect us. I mean, you get a contractor that starts the process, got everything pulled on off, scaffolding, and God knows whatever happens, goes belly up or just decides not to show up anymore. What are we gonna do? That performance bond is to handle stuff like that so that we can get somebody in there and we call that bond in.
I can't believe anyone who works in public buildings
Doesn't already have.
doesn't even have that. If they aren't completely bonded,
Of course.
they're not coming on this site. So I'm a little surprised. I'm glad you pointed that out. I don't really know how that's a savings. That should just be in a price.
It's typically an additional cost on a project.
Why would anybody let anyone in a public building that's not carrying that?
It should be, and that's why it's noted that way, to say that it would have to be carried in some way.
I guess I wouldn't even expect that to be broken out. I'd expect that to be, that's just like saying, yeah, how many trucks do you have? I mean, of course, you better be bonded and insured.
And you better have trucks.
Exactly. So,
I think we can work that language into the front end of the bid package and to make sure it is, but I've seen in projects that it is broken out separately, and it's a,
well,
I agree with you, it is strange, but it's just.
doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think that's, I don't, no sense in going down ancient history here, 'cause who knows how long this has been going on at the PAC, and it's several boards ago, and it doesn't really matter.
Sure.
But I think it's anything that's major that happens at Timberlane, we should make sure we have people that are licensed, bonded, insured. This is, I think most of them are.
Yeah. Right. And one item I'd like to point out too is our payment schedule is going to be based on work completed, right? So a contractor's not going to be able to requisition for funds unless they either A, have the material on site, a certain percentage of the work has been completed, and Craig and myself will both sign off on that going into it.
And you work that into your process.
The payment
Get your
schedule, yeah.
contract straight.
And I did want to share a proposed project schedule with you, with some key dates and some
Well,
milestones.
can you hold on that? I really want to not skip over Sean's point about,
Yeah.
do we want to add money on the floor? That's where we have to do it now. And how much do we want to add?
I mean, I don't know, and also with that, you don't have to come up with a number right now, but it's something that we're gonna need to, by, of course, a deliberative
We've got
date.
only a couple of weeks, and I really would rather not do it on the fly that night. If we could get an answer now, because here's my thought on deliberative. I'd like, maybe Brian, to put this article on the floor. The moderator will read the article. He'll look for a motion to put it on the floor. He's gonna look to the board. It's our warrant. I want to, teacher, assign each, whoever is willing to do it, I'm sure Brian's gonna be, to make a motion and be willing to speak to the motion, invite Mr. Gary up if that's what we want, and be prepared if we're gonna increase this number and be able to have the rationale he needs. I don't wanna do it on the fly. We're gonna run out of time. That's why I wanna not move away from this topic. Jen and then Kim.
I was going to ask about the timeline, but that can wait. As far as the number, this is in the best guesstimate. And the project will go out to bid. So we may realize some savings through that process anyway. And if it does end up a little bit over, do we have,
This is coming out of capital reserve, right? Yes.
Yeah.
We don't.
You can't go out of the warrant article.
We can't go,
Or
we
not.
can't, 500,000 is if that's the number we put on the floor, and it gets to the ballot, and they vote yes, that's the number. I don't believe you can say, you know what, we were wrong, and it was 750,000.
well, I mean, I don't think we're gonna be off by that much.
No, but what can happen is that if we're off by 20 or 30,000, is we're gonna have to pull it out of the operating budget. That's all.
That's right. And it might not be over at all, but do we want to take a guesstimate that 30,000, that's quite a bit of a hit out of a maintenance budget.
Can I just caution you on one thing, Madam Chair, is that I believe that if the proposed budget passes, that we would have money in the capital account, but I believe if the default doesn't right now, that
There's no
line
money in there.
is zeroed out, so I just wanted to.
Only capital money in the default, you're right, that's a correct statement. Kim, what do you think?
I would recommend especially, the number 500,000, just, if I look at that as a voter, it strikes me as odd. I think what I would recommend is raising it up for, I would do 497,341 and add in the 27,000 contingency, 27,309 on the floor, to make it a number that seems like a real number.
So 522
Seriously,
something
and
something?
Yeah,
And
whatever
32
that is,
cents.
I can pull out my calculator, but that would be my
And
recommendation.
add
to
how
do.
much more to the,
27,309, which is the contingency.
so it'll bring it to,
524, 650.
Plus you have to add the 7,100, because this breakdown, I can't,
What, the 7,100?
doesn't,
Well, we
that's,
got the contingency in there.
well, there's nothing in there for the, you have to, you need a
performance
performance
bonds.
bonus.
So put in, so
You
now
wanna
it's
add a performance bond, too?
531, what do you got?
524, 650.
Yeah, but add 771 in there. 531,
Plus 7,100.
531,
750.
750. Are we willing to do that on the floor, to add in 27,309 and 37, and let's see, 27,309 and 7,000 more, add that in, so Brian knows how much he has to propose that we're gonna add.
And then we're gonna assume that all the nailers that this product is going to be nailed to are all 100% intact. That's a big assumption.
The big contingency there.
I think that's how you write the bid.
That's right.
I think that's, and I expect someone, if you, the numbers you were getting, I would expect that person, that contractor, if they have to do some nails, to do it. That's what I would expect.
Yeah, write the bid so that if any of them
Yeah.
have to be done, it's part
I'm
of
not
the
gonna
bid.
sit back and, you know,
So we would raise from the 500,000, we would propose amending the article, $31,750 to now come to a total of $531,750. You want to put pennies on there and 62 cents, are we good? I think that's a number that sounds like that would do it.
And we're also going with a $5 cheaper part of the siding.
We, do we want to give that assignment to Brian on the floor? Are you willing to do it?
I'll be happy to.
Okay, thank you.
I'll be there.
And then I would
there.
ask for a second. I'm gonna ask perhaps Sean to be the second, if you would. Would you be willing to second it? I'm gonna make out a list, so again, the moderator can turn to Brian, he knows he's gonna speak to it, you're gonna offer the second before he speaks to it, et cetera, and we move along smoothly, instead of everybody waiting till somebody,
And we will have, I think those pictures were great
Yeah.
because
And I was gonna say, Madam Chair, Mr. Jones and myself will both be available
good.
that night.
We'll
Right.
need you, we'll want you to be able to,
Perfect.
we'll have to have your name added to our list of, because you don't live in our town, you don't live here, so, to be allowed to speak, but they'll allow that. We just have to notify the public that you're speaking.
And while we're on that subject, I'd ask, would a promotional one-pager be something the board would be interested for us to put together on this project?
And have
Yeah,
there
that
at the
would be-
deliberative for
Either at
people
the
to pick up.
deliberative or something we can disseminate in other ways that the board sees necessary, just like a one-pager.
You can have it around, it's, you know, the moderator will decide where he would want that piece of paper.
are you talking
But
about
even prior to
within the
delivery.
community, like at libraries and?
However you would want to
Website.
distribute it, it's just, we could put that together,
Yeah.
so you'd have something to go on.
Yep,
Are we okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
more information's better.
Right.
Definitely.
I don't
As long
think
as it's
people-
accurate, and you're not electioneering and any of that, it's just the facts, please.
Again, those pictures are, I don't think people realize when you just walk up and you look,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful building, it really is. But until you actually look up close, which, how many people really do that? Right.
Good. Anything else for,
I did have
the
some
timeline.
milestones. if you
oh,
wanted,
yes, now I'm gonna go on, I just wanted to do the money piece first. Now let's go back to the timeline,
All
please.
right. So the anticipation that we get a positive vote on March 12th, we would look for our architects to finish the bid documents by April 15th, collect the bids by the 6th of May, award the contract on the 15th of May, possibly mobilization and ordering materials, that would be on the contractor's end, if they were to work off of a purchase order, because I believe we have to wait till July 1st to begin the actual, before we can make a payment. But I'm not positive on
I don't
that. I would
think
have
so.
to double check on that.
Yeah, I think with warrant articles, that the money, as soon as you get the approval from the voters, I think at that point you can physically.
I mean, that only helps us, so, and
commit
that would be
commit
great.
that. I don't think it has to be.
It's coming out of
Yeah, it's
capital,
coming out
right?
of capital.
We're not
It's coming out
raising,
of the
it's
capital
coming out of
reserve.
capital.
The district
All right,
just needs to
so,
request the trustee of trust funds to remove it.
That's a good, best case scenario, so that brings us to beginning construction June 15th if possible, right? Because we have to worry about student traffic and all of that. And with a substantial completion date of the 30th of August. Now, of course, this is very rough right now.
30th of, I didn't hear the.
August.
August.
Yeah.
It's okay, well, again, not sure why we're worried about that
I'm
tonight.
not worried about the
Yeah.
timeline of, I just want it done and done right and attractive. But that's me. Anything else for these gentlemen? Yes,
I just have
Sarah?
a quick question. During the PAC is used during the summer by the students, the high school students and stuff. Are kids still going to be able to have access to the building during the construction? Because of like band camp and there's lessons and there's summer music camps and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know that, the Performing Arts Center is a big part of the
Yeah.
community, right?
Yeah.
So we would look at keeping it active, but putting precautions in place so it's still safe for students to come in and out.
Okay.
So we wouldn't be looking at doing a building closure.
Okay, all right, good.
We would require the contractor to provide a logistics plan.
Right.
Prior, a safety plan. And knowing that not only is the PAC occupied, but we have things going on in the middle school and the high school as well, athletic fields, so.
Okay, all right, good. Because the kids use both the front and the back entrances, especially during band camp. They're all over the place
Sure.
in August, so just
Yeah.
wanted to.
And if you have, on our RFP site too, is we require on projects like this for contractors to sign off on a code of conduct, especially where they're on school property.
Good.
Things like designated bathrooms, right? If you think we have to spell that out for people, right? And no smoking on school grounds, foul language, things like that. So we get that right up front, with our expectations of behavior for contractors, so.
Anything else for these gentlemen? If not, thank you very much, gentlemen. We appreciate you being here. Great presentation. We appreciate the work.
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
We're going to skip down. I said we were going to kind of be a little flexible here with our time. If we could skip down to policies. Right, Jen? We ready to do policies?
I promised last time we did policies that it would be the ones that I thought would be quicker and maybe not need as much conversation. This next group, though, I don't know if anybody's had a chance to look at them. There's just a couple I wanted to draw some attention to. The first one, IHAMA, teaching about alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. It was pretty minor changes. We did, actually, I don't know if, a couple of the changes we've made in policy committee is already reflected in here. That one was fine. The student fundraising activities, the crowdfunding disclaimer, that was a big change. And that language came from legal counsel. So I just wanted to draw everybody's attention to that. Public gifts and donations also had the same disclaimer about the crowdfunding. Oh, thank you. And one of the conversations we had in policy committee was about donations to the classroom, some of the online, like the Donors Choose site, just making sure that there's, that policy is followed as far as approval. First aid and medical care. This was one I thought the board should discuss. Lee and I, when we were in policy committee, weren't really comfortable weighing in one way or the other, especially on the back page, you'll notice some language in there about having Narcan on site at the schools and what that would entail for our nurses being trained. And that part is not a legal requirement. New Hampshire School Board Association, I guess, was getting a lot of questions about what to do with that and could they help draft some language for school districts. So that part is completely optional, but I just wanted to try and get some feedback and see.
Did you get any, can I ask about that one?
You
Did
can.
you get any feedback from our medical people here on?
No, and I talked about when this policy comes to the school board, if it would be beneficial to have one of the nurses here to talk to us about that and what that would mean for them, if that was the direction that the board was thinking they wanted to go in.
I think that would be probably a worthwhile activity to ask, ask one or some of them.
Yep.
Just for advice, for the guidance, I mean, it's there.
We do have some input I can share with you when you get to that part.
Go ahead.
Or if you want to discuss that now. Again, you described it correctly. School Boards Association put it in for just some sample language because people were asking for it. I think a lot of school systems are very nervous about having something like this available at the high school level, especially because the persons that are going to be responsible are going to be the nurses.
That's right.
And we do have a standard protocol when an emergency, exists, and if there's a crisis or an emergency, our standard protocol is to call 911. Those are the first responders. What we do know about Narcan, I mean, it's a wonderful solution for those kids or people who are addicted and having an issue. It is a life and death situation for them. But when you do administer Narcan, the way that people come out of some of their comatose type of behavior or, their condition, it can be very violent when they come out of it using the Narcan. And that's been some of the first responders' responses to some of this as well. And so that was one consideration that the nurses had for this.
I think my first reaction was, no, I don't want that in there. But also, and I guess one time would be enough, but how many times have we had to call 911 for a situation like this? I don't know. Then the other part of the discussion was the wording of this. Do we want to take it out altogether, or do we want to leave it so that the option is there and available should we decide that we want to go in that direction?
I'd like some more advice on that. Dr. Wilson's on the right track, but I'd like to hear.
You can accept it as first read to get it at least into the
Yeah.
discussion. Susan Rasco couldn't be here tonight, but I know that she's had some conversations with the nurses and does have an opinion, so she could share some of that with you.
So the thought was that second sentence there, the board authorizes the district to obtain, store, and administer, basically is the board telling the district, if you want to do that, we're okay with you doing that, but it's not requiring that they do that.
You would have to let us know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Which way you want to go, because, the other thing is that there are regulations in terms of storage.
That's right.
And we'd have to make sure that we abide by that.
Do you think we could push this to a first read, but also invite our head nurse in to talk
Absolutely,
to
yeah,
us?
it was just one that I knew would be.
As well as Susan Resico, but I think,
Yeah, it might be interesting too, Sheila, to invite a first responder.
yeah, that also, but I just really
Just-
want
it'd
some
be
more
interesting
information.
Who's done this and has, unfortunately, firsthand
Right.
information to just help us feel comfortable.
But also, I
with
think we
whatever
should
way
talk
go.
to the head, we have a head nurse,
Yes, we
correct?
do.
Okay, So I think, to speak on behalf of the nurses,
Yeah, and because I know they've had many conversations about it.
right.
I just wanted to
and
make
Mrs.
everybody
Resco, but-
aware, like that,
Right.
that language was there, and it was,
And this was exactly the purpose, is to get school boards to really look at what this means. The changing tide is upon us, and it puts an awful lot of responsibility on our school nurses. So I do think we need to have at least
I think
their
Sheila's
voice.
good point there, so let's keep moving on and see if we can get through First Street.
IGEA, that's a new code, it's specific to Timberlane about, curriculum. IKE. Placement, promotion, retention of students. I forget what the comment was about that. I think it was just kept a little bit more general, directing parents to student handbooks and program of studies, not being so specific in the policy. IKER, that's the
Procedure.
procedure that goes with that, thank you. The ILBAA, the top 1, 2, 3, 4, those definitions were recommended by the sample policy for New Hampshire School Board Association, their language. So just updated the definitions that were right below it. And some legal reference changes. KB. That one was streamlined. In a lot of it sounds like, we know we say we don't like to put procedure in the policies, but that was a lot of the language that's in the law. And I think with the policies that we've done, I think we've seen that a lot with references to like some special education, and like the law kind of has procedure in there, right?
Too much.
Sometimes,
So,
yeah.
so that's why it looks like we're putting procedure in a policy, not because we're trying to, but because the legal references. KB, KB.
What's your Title I?
Oh, that's the same one that we were just doing.
Oh,
Right, and that's it.
All right, I'll listen to a motion to move these to first read.
I'll make that
Betty,
motion.
Sarah makes a motion, do I
I'll
hear a
second it.
second? Second from Kristen. I would add as the caveat, as we go to second read on JLCE, that we make a note here, Mrs. Belcher, Susan Rasco, the school nurse, a lead, and perhaps a first responder, just to be with us for that second read. Are we okay with that? We'll add
Yes,
that.
yes, please.
Okay. Any other comments before, yes?
I
I'm
just got a
sorry.
question, though. Is it after the second read that we approve them? Are they, Kathy, are they updated on the?
Yeah, second read is really adoption, so once you approve them for second read, they are adopted, and then we update them on the website.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Yes,
Have you heard anything from New Hampshire School Board on the rest of them?
on our
our
review.
Here
we are on the queue
reviews.
for the review. No, last time I talked to them, they said probably spring, maybe March.
They would said
So I
March.
figured
Just
I
wondering
wasn't
if you
gonna
heard
check back
anything.
with them until March, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, hearing no other discussion, I'll move to a vote. All those in favor to move these from first read? It's unanimous, 8-0-0. Okay. All right, we need to show some more flexibility here. And I want to know how we want to proceed. We are in recess from a hearing, and our lawyer is here to make a presentation so we can move this ahead. He is here now. I don't want to have him have to sit here till 10 o'clock at night, if you don't mind. So I'm asking for some flexibility if we can. Kristen, I'm going to have to ask you to leave as well. We're going to go into non-public for this. You were not part of the hearing. So I'd ask you to recuse yourself, since you recused yourself from the 2 evenings. if you wouldn't mind.
That's fine.
So can I, yes,
I was gonna say,
yes, he's gonna leave
Like in
too.
your midterms, your
Thank you.
finals.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
So we'll excuse you,
Thank you very
sir.
much.
good luck.
We're going to, let's see, recess the school board public meeting and resume the hearing. In non-public, we were in deliberations, asked the public to leave, and we were alone, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
Kim
Absolutely.
is gonna keep taking minutes.
Yep.
Kim's gonna keep taking minutes. Yes, good.
Non-public.
Okay.
Non-public.
Kristen's leaving. No, she was
It was not
not.
part of your deliberation.
Not part of the
Part of the
deliberation. So we are recessed, sir, from our public meeting.
Give me a
Might
minute,
be
minute.
thinking about two of them. Yes.
Nope.
Oh, she's still here.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody. We're back from our non-public. Nothing to announce.
I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public we just came out of, please.
I'll second that.
Sheila's made a motion to seal the minutes of this non-public. And Lee is seconding. Do we need to poll for that?
You do.
You do, all right. So poll the board, Madam Secretary.
Mr. Boyle?
Yes.
Mr. Doobie?
Yes.
Dr. Farah?
Yep.
Ms. Lowe's?
Yes.
Mrs. Markham?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mrs. Savage?
I'm abstaining.
All right, you weren't in it, sorry.
That's okay.
Mrs. Sherman?
So you're not marking her as abstaining. She wasn't here.
Right.
Okay. Oh, Sherman, yes.
And Mrs. Silva?
Yes.
Okay, the minutes are sealed.
Okay.
And those are from the
Thank you
one-
very much for our public waiting for us to return. All right, we are back on our agenda, and we are at warrant articles, finalize, and sign warrant. Are we ready to do that, or do you want to go the other way around?
We should do the
Okay,
budget
so let's
first.
go back, let's go to C then, the budget.
What are we doing now? I'm sorry, where are we?
Budget.
Budget. Okay. Budget, got it.
So confused. We did that well.
We did that well.
This is the most disjointed.
I'll entertain open discussion. Kim, you ready?
Adopt a budget.
Yeah, why don't we let Jeff get ready, because I want to ask one question
Okay, let him get ready then.
before we,
There's no documentation in our packets on that.
Whenever you're ready.
It's in our lawsuit paperwork.
Yeah.
Ready?
ready. When I look at the budget lines, 1100, 112,
Yes.
on the proposed salary line is 15,838, 053.
What are you asking, Kim?
I'm asking, the proposed salary line, 1100, 112 is 15,838, 053.
Okay.
How did you arrive at that number?
Well, I take our current employees and positions, and I have a method to roll them forward, project basically where they're going to be next year, and review them and include them in the budget. In that way, if it's all salaries, if it's all the 112, if it's all salaries.
Okay, so,
But we do have some other items in there, longevity and different things that get paid out of that account as well.
Okay, so you have the detail to support that line.
Correct.
Okay. I would like to make a motion that the school board gets the detail for the 112 line electronically, no later than close of business on January 25th.
25th, which is Friday, right?
Yeah.
Right. So motion, I'm back.
Good.
Motion to, who are we directing?
The superintendent to provide electronically to the school board no later than close of business, let's say 4:30, January 25th, the detail on line 1100.112.
And was there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Silva. Motion made by Dr. Farrar, second by Mrs. Silva. Any discussion on the motion to provide detail for that particular line and code? Yeah. Hearing none, or hearing no questions or comments?
I'd like
Yes,
to amend
okay.
that motion.
Yeah, 'cause
I would like to add line 1200, 111, 1200, 112, 2134,
2134,
113,
113,
2152,
2152,
2410, 111.
Oh, can you
Wait a
back up?
minute, you got.
You've got too many numbers now. We went from,
We went.
Well,
2125.
let me,
we got the
I
4,
can-
and then the 3, the 4, the 3, and I was
She's
yeah,
lost
whether
me.
it's,
She's
I-
off this.
the
She's
tw-
not on this now.
does somebody,
Yeah.
you want to give
I
this to
have it.
Mrs. Belcher?
I think you want to go down this list right here?
Do you understand what list I'm going
Yeah,
down?
I do.
Does everybody,
The pages aren't numbered, but you're talking number 8.
Yeah.
I lost track of, I
so
was
we were
with you.
at 2152.
Yeah, 2152.
2152,
XXX, that whole,
Okay,
XXX, that
thank you.
whole.
That's where you
That
lost
whole
me.
line, sorry, that was my fault.
Yeah, okay,
The next is 2410, 111,
111,
2410, 115,
115,
2610, 111.
so you're amending your motion to include all of those
To
lines.
include those
Detailed,
detailed.
2152 was XXX.
X,
Why
yes.
is it XXX?
it's the entire, was that,
It's the
that's an
entire-
object code, right?
Yeah.
The entire function code.
all right, so we have a motion that Dr. Farrar has made. Do we have a second for that amendment? I'm sorry.
I'll
amendment.
second it.
Mrs. Lowe's makes the second. So now we're on the amendment.
Just a quick question on the amendment. Why the 2152 XXX?
I'm sorry, can I, let me show you something here.
Jen, right here.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay? Mrs. Sylvia, you're set?
I am set.
Are we ready to vote the amendment?
Vote to amend, yeah.
Vote to amend. Okay?
You really need to go down that road? If she made the motion and she seconded it, if they both agree, you can just do the amendment that way.
We're gonna do it this way.
Okay.
Fine, more paperwork.
Doesn't matter.
All those in favor of the amendment? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Now, we have an amended motion that includes the first few details that Dr. Farrar mentioned, and all of these that we just amended the motion by. Are we ready to vote?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, hearing no other discussion, all in favor? It's unanimous as well.
Can I move on here?
You may.
I'm going to propose some changes to line items in the default budget. Sorry, I must have another copy of this somewhere.
I have copies of. Of course I do.
Yeah, my copy.
This is our budget.
Oh,
I
that's
don't have a
because,
copy of that, because I was on the other.
oh, wait a minute, I have an extra.
Thank you.
Here you go, but my numbers.
Oh, that's okay.
We're gonna follow. You gonna get it? Yeah, we're gonna follow with Dr. Farrow.
Based on advice of counsel, I'm requesting that I would like to direct the superintendent to make the changes on the default budget that are listed here. So that in the first column of this handout, you'll see 2020 school board default. What I am going to propose is that all those line items revert to the 2020 proposed budget numbers that are reflected in the second column. What this does for people that can't see this is it fully funds transportation increases at $421,958. And it adjusts the support services lines so that the group insurance is funded in line with what the business administrator has in the proposed 2019-20 budget. So that's my motion.
Have we made the adjustments for the SAU?
That's right here.
It's there.
Okay.
I'll second Kim's motion.
Thank you, I was
Yeah,
trying
I'm
to talk
sorry.
and
I
swallow
got
at the
lost.
same time. Questions or concerns? I do want the record to reflect Dr. Farah's comment that this is after receiving
Yeah,
consultation.
based on legal
with
advice, yeah, got
Legal
that.
advice.
Mhm. I just want to make sure that I
Our
understand.
legal advice.
So this is what I captured for your motion, and in that you would direct, based on legal advice, you motion to direct the superintendent to make changes to the default budget that fully funds the transportation and adjust group insurance as funded per the business administrator's proposed budget. What else in that do you want captured for them? Because you talked about replacing one line with another line. What's the best way to capture that meets what you're trying to do?
The salary piece of it.
Do you want to name this document and request the changes be made as per the document?
Yeah.
Sure.
I guess, I don't know what.
It's this whole second column, right, Kim?
Yes.
What I want to do is, what I'm trying to do is, let's make the motion a little simple, to direct the superintendent to change the lines on this document from from the first column to the second column. And I will do this on the default budget, the Excel spreadsheet, and send it to Sue, who can then forward it.
Yeah.
But to make it easier, I just pulled it out. I'll do this and make the changes and
Are
send
we
it to
okay
Sue.
with that? Send it to me and I'll,
I just didn't want to embed it in all the lines.
right,
Yeah, 'cause I'm still
right,
not
so you
following.
pulled this all out so you could see
He
the
wants these all changed.
I get that, but you want the second column replaced with.
second top column is now what we're proposing.
Okay, so and that's in all the lines? So we're actually getting rid of the first column?
The first column in the default budget will be replaced by the numbers in
Okay.
the second column.
I can
Which now
craft
would
your
be our
motion
default
for that,
numbers,
yes.
correct?
Okay.
And we're adjusting those,
To match the proposed.
right. So now the second column becomes the school board
That's the revised school board, right?
revised default number.
I don't know if there's any need to redo the Excel sheet. I can make the changes based on what you've provided. And actually, the one page is helpful.
Yeah, because it's in one place instead of hunting and pecking, right?
I actually have this on an Excel sheet. I can send
That's fine.
it to Sue.
Yeah, that's fine.
Send it to me, I'll get it.
So having this many changes, we do have, and I believe you have up until, I think the ballots, just before the ballots are printed to finalize the default budget. However, I have to post, or we're going to post on Monday?
Monday's the deadline to
Monday.
post
Latest.
the, yeah.
So, what I would like to do is get these updates in place and then make the document available here, if you'd be able to swing by, take a look,
and execute so that we can get it posted for Monday. The only thing is, once I post it, I finalize it through the process that I go through with DRA. I finalize it with them, which is fine. It really doesn't impact anything here, but having one tranche of changes is helpful. If you make changes after that, they can still be done. They can still be done up until the printing the ballots. However, I would like to make sure that we're able to get that signed. So having so many changes, I want to go through and make sure that everything ties out. I was hoping if it was 1 or 2 changes, 'cause I know you talked about truing up the SAU to the actual, which I think was an adjustment of 52,367. I could make that change, bring the form down here, but I'll just put it out there with this many changes. I'll make the form available if you can make your way to the office. I don't need everyone's signature, I think just a majority. So we have Thursday, we have Friday, so it should be fine, right? So
So are you asking people to come back in Thursday and Friday?
Thursday and Friday, yeah.
For their signatures?
That's right.
We'll need them for the warrant as well, once we finalize the
Right.
warrant.
Yeah.
These are the proposed changes we are making as of right now. This is,
And then that'll allow me to get that, not a final document, allow me to get a document that's stable. These are the changes, this is what it is. We'll get that posted. Make any changes you want after that, if anything comes up, but at least we can get it posted.
Would it be safe to say that Friday morning, at the start of business, that we'd be able to come in here and sign all the documents?
Well, I'll be ready.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Wanna be ready
you say
tomorrow.
Thursday, tomorrow's Thursday.
I know, I said Friday, so I can give tomorrow as the day that.
Friday
everything gets
noontime,
done.
Friday.
Give you some leeway here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if anyone has a restriction on Friday,
I
let me
do,
know.
but I'll
So,
get here.
When we have a quorum, will you have all of you available? Or most of you? I mean, how many signatures do you need?
Come down
Five.
Friday morning.
I can come by tomorrow
Friday
afternoon.
at some point.
But you can't, somebody come by tomorrow afternoon, and somebody not here till Friday morning. You gotta know when it's gonna be ready.
yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm available the day. So whatever's ready, give me all that.
But on that last directive that Kim gave, the sooner the better on that information, please, because we obviously need it.
Oh, on the other.
Right, on those other lines.
That had the deadline of Friday, so.
Right.
Yeah, that's the deadline of Friday. That should be fine.
So we have,
Motion.
we have a motion on the floor. Are we ready to vote?
No, I have one more question then. So if we're gonna sign this, say if I come in Friday morning to sign it, we're gonna have information that isn't due until Friday at 4:30.
But
Yeah, but that's not
related
pertinent
to the,
this.
You wouldn't have an ability to change it, to make any changes here anyway, right?
It's pertinent to
Without a
this.
meeting.
Yeah, good point. Okay.
And you can change
a
it.
different
And we still have
topic.
up to the ballot, so.
Okay, back to this motion. Are we ready? You read me back the motion again, so we know what it is.
Okay. Dr. Farrett, motion that based on legal advice, to direct the superintendent to make the changes to the default budget that fully funds transportation and adjust group insurance as funded per the BA's proposed budget as depicted in the 2020 proposed column on this document here, on document submitted.
Okay?
Is that okay? I'll try to clean it up a little better. What I
I
look
think,
like.
well, isn't it, are we missing the first part, though?
Well, we are,
It's gonna match it.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
Are we ready now? All those in favor? Unanimous?
Thank you.
I just want to also make a note that the bottom line number has not changed. It's still the same number.
That's what I was gonna confirm, so.
Yes.
Okay.
and when I made those adjustments, that's why you'll see the
Did-
bottom, it says line 2,900 to 10 differs by that amount. Just because I didn't want to get into changing the number.
Well, that's good. Very good, okay.
Anything else on that particular item on the agenda, or can we go back up to warrant articles now?
If I could ask on that,
Sure?
if you have it updated in Excel, will the explanations be updated as well?
Will the explanations be updated as well?
I don't know if there are any looking at them, I don't know if there are any changes to,
I thought that's what you just asked him for.
Well,
He's asking
I'm
about our
asking for the
adjustments.
detail. I
No, I
don't
know,
think,
but we're
I
adjusting
don't
to
think
him.
this is not, on the MSDS, this isn't gonna change any of those.
descriptions that are there, yeah, so that's.
They're
the-
already there. I think the only thing, well, transportation, it's gonna be an increase, so you're gonna have to put a contractual increase. That explanation
That
I
one would
didn't
have
put
to
in there.
change contractually.
The rest of them is not. The rest of them, the explanation is
Well-
either already there or it's not.
No, it's the same with SAU budget, reduced obligation.
Right, that's a
Contractual.
reduced obligation. I guess I can go in and do that.
As long as there's nothing material to the court, if there's anything, I'll send out a request to clarify, so.
Anything else budget-wise, Jeff, before we move on to warrant articles?
Well, I don't have anything on the default budget now.
Okay.
I
Moving
do,
on.
I do have a question on the warrant. If you approve the warrant article, the operating budget, on the 27, I would reflect that approval in that budget as recommended in that column on the 27. That makes sense.
question.
I don't understand your question either. We're going on now to the warrant articles and offering our recommendation or not our recommendation on each
Go right ahead.
individual warrant article. Yeah,
I think that Jeff was getting at, and correct me if I'm
Right.
wrong, is that having this board adopt the budget that BudCom has produced,
That's exactly what
line
he's
for
saying.
line. Because this board has to also produce a proposed operating budget. Is that your question, Jeff?
we discussed about it would be, and Brian's point was it would be the same budget. Would not be a different budget, right?
I think you discussed, but I don't think the board had ever come
Yeah,
to
we-
an
I
agreement
don't-
at the
yeah.
last meeting.
Okay.
Sean had raised the idea that
Right.
you need to do it, and
I
that's
thought
why
we
it's
had
on the agenda
discussed it and
tonight.
we set, that this number is our number, and this default number is our number.
I'll pass around so you have it in front of you for easy reference. The MS 27 is the budget committee's budget document.
Yep.
I think Sandy, you had referenced it, Sean, you may have referenced it previously, but it should make it a little bit more clear when you turn the page and you look at the lines, that if the school board recommends the operating budget, that the budget committee has adopted or recommended, I would then match the school board's recommended appropriations to the budget committee's recommended appropriations. So this isn't completed yet. I need the budget committee to sign off on, and as soon as this board makes their recommendations on the operating budget, then I can complete that, have the budget committee sign. And you'll notice if we have any warrant articles, for example, on page 5, you'll see that the warrant article there is showing it's the Performing Arts Center outer wall replacement, the recommendations of this board. If that is supported, would then go on this budget form, or any dollar-related, money-related warrant article, I will reflect that on here as well. So I don't know if you need me for this, but I just wanted to put that out there and let everyone know that that's already in now on the 27th. So.
Thank you. Are we ready? Let's go on to warrant articles.
So is your discussion about warrant articles going to provide a response or an answer to populating the 27 for the business administrator?
How do you want to handle it? I thought we could include it in our discussion, but if you want to make it a separate discussion.
I think we should just go and recommend the budget committees, and we have to make an adjustment there about the Performing Arts wall we did tonight.
Well, we're gonna do that on the floor, isn't it?
Well, I'm just saying we could put right number in there right now.
A different number?
Well, it's in there.
It's in there now.
This is just,
it's
this is his
500,000.
draft, and it has to be based off our draft warrant articles. So if we
Exactly.
change it on the deliberative session, then he'll change
Right,
this
right,
Okay.
right.
before it goes
When-
in.
On the floor, we are proposing that we're probably
Okay.
gonna amend that 500,000 to 531, something or other.
Yeah.
And then that you'll reflect it on this document when and if it,
Passes.
Well, actually, I don't recognize it at all on that document. This 27 is for posting, and
well, the posting is 500,000. We can't.
that's correct, and then it
Okay.
changes it.
Do that
it-
tonight.
All right.
It changes that, if it changes that deliberative, this forms.
That's fine.
Okay.
So,
All right. Make a motion, Brian, if that's what you want to do.
I'll make a motion that the school board adopt the budget committee's budget as our proposed budget.
Second. I'm going to second it. Any other discussion? If not, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor? Unanimous.
No, it's not.
Oh, sorry, not unanimous. 8 opposed, 1 abstaining. Sorry, Sean, I thought I saw your hand go up. 0, 8, 1, 0.
Got it.
All right, back to warrant articles. So we're down to Article 2. Maybe we can do this all at once. So there, I was hoping Kim might be willing to put this on the floor. Kim, are you willing to do this
Sure.
one? And because I want to give this list to the moderator. Do we have a person is willing to second the article?
I'll second the article.
Okay, Brian will.
So who's putting it on again? I'm sorry.
Kim, I'm going to ask Kim that after he reads it, he'll recognize her and she'll say, like, to move the article onto the floor. So tonight we want to look over this Article 2 and attach our recommended or not recommended by the school board tally to this document. You'll see that the budget committee tallies are already on there, 10-0-0. So I entertain a motion for recommendation.
So made.
Lee makes the motion. Is that Jen? Yeah. Second. All those in favor of recommendation? 8. Opposed? 1. Abstaining? 0.
Got it.
Who's putting that on the floor?
That would be
Kim.
Kim and Brian.
Kim and Brian.
Okay.
Capital Reserve Fund. Do we have a person who would like to put this one on the floor?
I might be late that night because I have family obligations.
Okay,
so
okay,
put me
I
toward the end.
understand.
You want someone to read it?
No. You'll look for a motion to put it on the floor.
I'll put it on the floor.
So Brian, and I'll be happy to second it.
Whatever.
If there are questions about it, you'd offer an explanation. This is our, like I did at the hearing, this is our standard template that we ask for, put money away. All right, and you'll notice the Budget Committee recommended this 10-0-0, so I'm looking for a motion to recommend.
Make the motion.
Okay, Jen makes a motion to recommend. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Sarah. All in favor? That looks like 9-0-0. Thank you. Performing Arts Center, that's going to be Brian and Sean. And to get this on the warrant, can I hear a motion to get this on the warrant?
I'll make the motion.
Sheila,
A
second.
motion to recommend it,
To recommend
I
it, yeah.
recommend, sorry. What did I say?
to get it on the
Oh,
warrant.
sorry, I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
My brain's going faster than my mouth. Sheila and Kristen, all those in favor of the recommendation? 9-0-0. Thank you. And Brian and Sean are going to speak to that. Sarah, I was hoping you would do the collective bargaining.
Yep.
And do we have somebody that would second?
I'll second her.
Thanks, Sheila. Unless one of the two other members of the
She's fine.
Okay.
Good.
And so I'm looking for, you'll notice the Budget Committee recommended this 10-0-0. I'm looking for a motion to recommend.
Motion to recommend.
Jen, a second.
I'll second.
Lee? All those in favor? Looks like 9-0-0. Thank you. Here's the article for the special meeting. Should the Article 5, which is the bargaining agreement, defeated, so that we could have one special meeting. That's the template that we need to have on there. Sarah, do you want to do that one as well?
Sure.
And Sheila, are you willing to second it? Just to
Yes.
keep some consistency?
Yep.
Yep, thank you. Yeah. School board to recommend, and I'm looking for a motion to recommend.
So moved.
Sheila and Kristen, I'll take this time. Lots of hands going up. Thank you for the efficiency. All those in favor? 9-0-0, thank you.
Go on here, Sue. Wasn't there something about the teacher's contract if it failed or something? Was that corrected?
That's it, right here, special,
All right.
number 6 is a special.
All right. Thank you, sorry.
Yeah, we had to add
Too much
it.
NyQuil?
And I had checked with legal, and we don't have to have a special hearing for that article. It's just, we're all fine with it. Article 7 is changes to the banking or brokerage. Sean, did you want to speak to this one?
Sure.
Okay, so Sean, do we have somebody who'd second it?
I'll second it.
Lee, you will?
Yes.
Okay, looks like the Budget Committee recommended this 10-0-0, so can I get a motion to recommend Article 7?
Make a motion to recommend 7.
Jen, a second?
A second.
Sarah does.
Not doing anymore.
All those in favor? 9-0-0. And then Article 8. Sean, did you want to do this one as well?
Sure.
And I'll second.
Thanks, Lee. And you'll see that they recommended it, the Budget Committee recommended it 10-0-0, so I'm looking for a motion to recommend.
So made.
Is that
Second.
Lee? Did I, Lee?
Yeah, Lee.
And second from
Jen?
Jen.
Jen. All those in favor? 9-0-0, thank you very much. Journal acceptance of reports, Article 9, I'll do that one. Brian can do the second. It's, again, our template. So we need a recommendation here. Can I get a motion to recommend?
Motion to recommend Article 9.
Jen?
I'll second.
Second by Lee. All those in favor? 9-0-0. Article 10, which is the citizens petition, right? Yep, citizens petition about the planning committee.
Who reads these?
Withdrawal.
Who reads this one?
There's the
Wait, we
petition,
wouldn't
right?
put it on the floor.
The moderator
He'll
would
read it, the moderator will put it, will read it, and then ask for somebody to put it on the floor. So that will be, I would assume it's somebody that's
petitioner.
assigned on the petitioner. So we're looking for a motion for our recommendation or not recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I'll make it.
Sheila, and do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Was that
Sean?
That a
to
motion to
recommend or not
recommend?
recommend?
To recommend, I think that was, but usually do it a positive way, right?
Was that correct? So it was Sheila made the motion?
Sheila and Sean.
Thank you.
Tell me if I'm going too fast, I'm trying to get through these.
No, you're doing great. Vote.
Okay, we ready? All those in favor? 8 opposed, 1 abstaining, none. 8-1-0. Transportation costs by petition, this is another petitioned article. It looks like the Budget Committee did not recommend this, 5-5. So again, we won't have to put it on the floor. Looking for our recommendation, a motion.
I make a motion not to recommend.
Yeah, how do we do that?
No, you
How-
make it,
Make a motion to recommend.
Recommend.
And then vote
And then we
against.
vote
Vote
no.
against.
I get it.
And then you vote no, and then it becomes a
Okay.
motion to not recommend.
So, and I'll second the motion, Brian's motion. Are you all set with this one,
So
ready to vote?
just to clarity, he changed it back to recommended.
It has to be, you have to
Okay.
put the motion in a positive way, and it's the
Okay.
vote that matters.
We just vote no.
Okay?
Vote however you want.
All those in favor of recommending? Not recommending? 9-0-9-0. Is that how that reads?
Yep.
High school track, again, petitioned article, we won't have to put it on the floor, but they're looking for, now, this is interesting, because the Budget Committee recommended it 5-5.
5-5, so that should say
I don't
not
get
recommend.
that one.
Is
I
that a
know,
typo?
because it's a tie. No, it was a tie. It was 10.
Well,
But
I
the
so
one
isn't
above-
this, the one above the
This is
same
about
thing?
it is
Recommended.
too, kiddo.
So
Right.
it doesn't pass, right?
Right, so that, I guess, I mean, I can certainly check with legal about that, as how those are reflected. So the concern was that, the motion on the floor was to, if I'm not mistaken, was to not recommend, even though the Budget Committee was advised to put them all in
Positive.
on positive, there were a couple that were, that one was not. And so, there was a motion to not recommend it, and so that's why it reads that way, even though 5-5 fails the motion. So, but it's an honest depiction of what happened at the Budget Committee meeting, which is truthful to the taxpayer, I mean, truthful to the voter.
So we want a motion in the positive way so that our votes are reflected. So anyone wish to motion?
I'll motion to recommend
So
Article 12.
Sean is recommending 12 and a second.
I'll second it.
Sheila will. Are we ready to vote?
Yep.
Can we have just
sorry.
a little discussion
Sure.
on this? Because I don't know how, if this has been before the board before, but the first, I mean, clearly I've heard about the track and whatever, but I think it was kind of an issue that was brought up when I first got brought onto the board. And I don't know enough, and it was kind of a shame to have a citizen's petition come forward and throw a number out in certain things, and there were so many theories that were put out that night about, you know, things that were happening, not happening, how we can use the track sometimes, not other times. I'm going to vote not to recommend this, but I just want to say it's not that I'm voting not to recommend it against the track team, because I do think we should have a track. I just think there's a lot more information that we need to get, and I think it would be irresponsible to do it through the citizens petition without having more information before us. And maybe that information's out there, but I've never seen it. So I just wanted to state that.
Good point, Kristen, and because this is going to end up coming out of the
Capital
capital
was the other thing,
reserve,
yes.
it continues to drain our
The capital
funds
reserve as
there, and
well.
I'm not sure that's the best use of those funds at this point.
Well, that's my
I am
point.
totally in favor of track and the activities that track. We will have track, we will continue to have a track team, and hope that we can move along with this.
I would
Sheila?
just like to see more information
Right.
gathered so that
I'm actually voting no, and only because the number that was put forth, the 312, that's all the bells and whistles. For the actual one bid that we have, there's actually things that can be taken out that would cost less money, things that can be looked at, colors and things like that. So this number is the bells and whistles for the one thing.
yeah.
So that's why I'm voting no,
Right,
because,
and all that was just as a talking
right,
point.
but what I'm saying is we haven't gotten enough on it to vet it out. So,
Other comments?
Can I just ask to understand that? I would just want to understand that. So the budget committee, if you vote,
They,
I'm sorry.
the way they must have motioned it, I wasn't there, Brian was.
So you motioned
Shouldn't
to,
have motioned it that way, but that's their
but either way,
choice.
however you motion it, a 5-5 vote
It's a fail.
is a fail.
It's still a fail, but it still needs, but the bottom line is that it's reflective of, I mean, I can certainly inquire with council as to whether or not they should just all say recommend in 5-5. It means the same thing, except that the motion was framed in a, to not recommend.
So
That's a
Article
difference.
11, the motion was to not recommend.
Right, which means the same as to recommend 5-5. It has the same meaning.
So ours will say, not recommended by school board.
0,
Like
9,
yours, right, yours will say not recommended 9.
Okay.
It'll be reversed so that the majority of the vote will be, will
But when you're
dictate what the recommendation
5-5,
is.
there is no majority.
Right. That's
Right.
why I don't understand why it's
So
listed
it
that
should
way.
still be not recommended. So even on the second
No,
one.
no, no, it's not recommended because they made the motion to not recommend it.
Correct.
That's
Yeah,
why.
but so on this track one, it says recommended by the budget committee 5-5.
Yep.
So if the motion was for them to recommend this and it was 5-5, then it should be not recommended.
No, they made, the motion was, we motion to not recommend.
On the other one, they motioned to not recommend, and that was the,
So the display of the
We-
tallies is always a 3-column, in favor, opposed, abstain.
I
So
understand.
it's all in the presentation of who made that motion, what their
And that's only
sentiment was.
because it was a tie?
yeah, a tie means the motion doesn't pass, but it doesn't, but even though the motion doesn't pass, the bottom line is that how do you get to the voter, the actual motion, what happened? I mean, the closest to the truth it is, and I guess you could argue that if I say not recommend, I'm saying something. If I say to recommend, I'm saying something. So really the weight of it came down to exactly what was the motion.
Okay.
And like I said, I can inquire about that.
Yeah, it sounds like we just should say like voted.
Yeah, that's.
I think it's just because it's a
Actually,
tie.
Say voted
that it's
5-5.
the wording of it.
Actually,
If it's a
not a
tie,
bad
then the
idea.
motion doesn't pass.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I wonder if we should say voted 5-5.
But I'm stumped.
Whatever the lawyers say.
Well, see, the,
But it is an argument.
form it's that you're either recommending or not recommending, yeah.
So we just did Article 11
Correct.
to recommend.
Yes.
0,
Yeah.
no positive votes, 9 against.
So is it gonna say recommended,
No.
090?
No, it's going to say not recommended, 9.
But we didn't vote, we didn't make the motion to not recommend, so it's kind of,
Right.
what you're saying is it's,
Right.
It's backwards
it's,
from what
what
it
you're
should be.
saying
Right,
is,
right, so
it's
it's based on what the motion is, and then the vote goes in,
No,
so,
it's typically based on the majority of that vote. Whatever the majority is
but
becomes
because you're
what
saying
that
because
is.
it was a 5-5,
Yes.
that's why you,
That's right. So how
had
do
it
you,
gone one or the other, you would have trickled that word
you
either
could,
way.
I can make an
Okay.
argument
I
for
just
both
wa-
sides, honestly. So it was the best way is that was the motion that they made, and certainly it's the board's warrant. I can certainly change it, but I'm happy to inquire.
Well,
Please inquire, because
I was also going to say,
This
Brian, you have a
happens
meeting
all the
tomorrow night,
time.
right?
Yeah,
it happens all
We
the time.
don't know.
It's happened at the town level.
Oh,
yeah.
It's
We
waiting
don't
to
know
hear
that.
from us.
okay.
All right, so,
Okay.
I was just trying to
Some boards
understand
do
that.
not put
I know.
anything.
I know. I went, what do I do with this?
Right. And we're trying to give our
So-
voters some information.
Do we have a motion for 12?
You have a motion
Yes,
and a
we do. We're
second.
just discussing the, yes.
Okay.
All right. Any other people want to weigh in about that article before we vote? If not, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor?
Of recommending.
0.
Got it.
Opposed? 9.
Thank you.
Abstaining? 0. 090. And 13. Again, not ours. It's about the weighted voting. It's a citizen petition, so we don't have to.
Would you like to share that? You should.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought they had it. I do have information when you get it motioned.
We're on 13?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Article 13, can we get a recommendation?
Okay, I'll motion to
Recommend?
get it on the floor. I don't want to make a motion.
Yeah, you could probably share that in advance, yeah. I mean, it's just
Let's
information.
let Dr. Wilson share this in advance, and then we can move on.
I'm going to read this because this was a conversation with legal, and I just want to make sure I get it right to you. So the article has undergone legal review, and it has been determined it does qualify for placement on the warrant. What separates this article from the other articles submitted by the same petitioner is that this article speaks specifically to amending the Articles of Agreement, and thus falls under the provisions of Article 15 of the agreement in your board packets. The other article, which was proposed changing the makeup of the board and thus reapportioning the cooperative school district, falls under RSA 195:19A and B, which states the threshold to reapportion a cooperative school district is a warrant article submitted by the school board or a petitioned article with signatures representing 10% of the voting populace in the entire district. Article 13 does not speak to reapportionment and falls under the provision of a simple petition article, at least 25 registered voter signatures, and the Article of Agreement itself. Per the Articles of Agreement, the board is now required to hold a public hearing on this article at least 10 days in advance of the March vote, with a 14-day newspaper posting requirement. Essentially, the board can hold a public hearing at their February 21st meeting as long as we get notice published in the newspaper by February 7th. As far as enforceability of the article and the clarity of the language, those issues will be discussed, deliberated, and possibly amended at the deliberative session. For now, the board must include it on the warrant.
Okay.
Can I ask a question on this one?
Somewhat complicated.
Well, no, so we need to publish by the 7th and have a hearing on our February 21 meeting. But is it a simple majority to change the Articles of Agreement,
No.
or is it a bigger,
It's 2/3.
2/3? Okay.
2/3. It says
Right.
Article 15 in the Articles of
In the
Agreement.
Articles of Agreement, it's a 2/3 vote.
2/3.
So that might be something that is stated at deliberative session and the article be amended there, because
We can't
we
change the
can't
wording.
change
We can't
anything,
change
right.
the wording
Right, yeah, but
unless,
takes a
on the
2/3.
floor.
Well, we can't, but can somebody on the floor, Jen?
Yep,
Yeah.
they sure can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Petitioners can. Okay, so back to, that was clear, kind of.
Well, I know it was a lot of words,
Followed it.
but if,
I got it.
I got it.
Followed it logistically, yeah.
are we ready then to include this? Jenny, you're gonna go back and motion to recommend?
Sure, Jack, I will motion to recommend Article 13.
I'll second that,
And Sheila will second.
because I'm gonna go down with her.
Questions or comments about this one?
Nope.
If not, I'm gonna call for a vote. We're looking to get a recommendation here. All those in favor of recommending? 0. Opposed? 9. Abstaining? 0. Okay, that should be the,
I was just saying, no, you're not.
that should be
you got it on the
the warrant, I believe. And I will get those names to our, yes, our moderator, and we will work on. All right, next thing, let's see, we've changed.
TTA?
Yes,
So
I
much
got it.
paper.
I got it.
Madam
I'm
Chair?
slow, but I got it.
Can I just want to back up, just one more item about the warrant is that it has undergone full legal review. We did submit it to DRA after we got it back from legal, so we're just still waiting. The only things that I would be concerned about are maybe terms like up to. They look at the money ones, and they do have new language that says that they don't want any up to language, they just want exact numbers. However, legal said that, no, the up to is appropriate in the places that we have it on our warrant. But DRA will make that determination, and so it's possible you might see the up to term removed for an exact amount based on DRA's final review.
Just ask somebody different at DRA, you've got
Well,
a different
yeah, I know.
How does that work with, so for Article number 3, because we just ran into this last year, if we don't,
Right,
it
that was my
just
point.
says appropriate 250,000, and we don't have 250,000, do we not put any of it
Right.
in?
And that's why legal said, no, that's why you should leave that in there.
That one should stay in
But
there.
that is still different than what they put out a guideline for suggested language, and one of the top 3 ones, it says that they need an exact amount, no up-tos.
I know.
It's 10:15.
Okay.
Just telling you, it's 10:15.
Crank it.
But
But I think that's the only one that has the.
we
up to,
moved,
so-
we moved right through it.
Thank you.
The heat
All right,
here.
we are now
Yeah.
at the TTA
Outside.
retirement extension request. You can see the memorandum in your packet. Dr. Wilson, do you want to speak to this? It does not look like there anyone from the unions here, so.
No, and I don't have too many details about this, other than the fact that a memorandum came out last year, I believe, that was a result of some of the default budget items that were in play, and I think there was some confusion this year that people felt as though they had up until March 31st, and so I believe, and I'm speaking for the Timberlane Teachers Association, because I haven't had the conversation with them, that they're looking just to avoid that confusion and to allow teachers to have until the March 31st deadline, which was.
So we would have to grant this extension from January. This year, for this year.
Right.
From January 1st. And Sheila asked that at one of our meetings when we were accepting retirements. And
Yeah,
she's signaling it was 3 times she mentioned it, or maybe it's 6
every
times.
meeting, no,
I
but
don't
every
know,
meeting
6
I
times?
asked,
But
'cause I was worried
anyway,
about it.
January 1st is what's in the written language. They're asking to move it to March 31st. Kim, a comment?
My comment is no. Leave it at January 1st. It states it clearly in the contract. I read the TTA contract the other day. We always entertain these on a case-by-case basis. I'm not in favor of moving it.
And that's what I had said, that we have never denied anyone the right to retire.
Nope.
That in my tenure here, we've always, and if there are always circumstances, to assume that we would not offer that generous to our staff is kind of hurtful to me, actually, that we of course would try to help in the situation. So I'm concurring with Kim.
I'm good. I'm with you.
Yep.
Right? I mean.
I'm with you guys, yeah.
Jen,
No, well, I was just gonna say, I don't know what the memorandum from 2, 3, or whatever years
it
ago.
had to, one of them
It
had to
was,
do with the
But,
Sandown withdrawal. That was one of them, because people were so unclear what was going to happen. And I believe last year had to do with, and I didn't believe it was March 31st last year, I really don't.
It wasn't.
Thank you. supposedly about the default, and how could it be the
Yeah,
this
I
is
mean,
the
and
default
my
here.
initial concern is that is butting up so close to that April 15th renewal date or nomination or whatever that date is.
I might have listened to
So-
March 15th,
So,
because that's after the vote, but.
I mean, January 1st, it's already gone by, so if
Yeah, any
people
that
want to
come-
retire, just
They would
put it in and we'll move forward.
So what do
like we
you need,
always
a
do.
motion for us to approve it or not?
I would like a motion. Either adopt their suggestion or not adopt it. I don't know if any of the rest of you have any thoughts on it?
I think the formality of them asking, and again, I'm
Uh-huh.
guessing, but the formality of it is because they want to make sure and assure that anyone who missed that deadline is still going to be entitled to the incentive should they be eligible for it.
But
We will take it on a case-by-case
I
basis,
think
as
that
we
the
always
date
have.
is a sound date, the January 1st, because it gives this board an opportunity to see what we're going to see with teachers retiring, possibly the reorganization, how that's going to look, all discussing that with any kind of budget implementations. That might be a cause and effect that we need to do something, adjust it at deliberative. We need that information as soon as possible, not after the
Some
fact.
districts, Sean, have different, some contracts have February 1st. I mean, some have March 1st, but it depends on your community. And I think January 1st, although it's a hard decision to make, because I had to make that, seems like, wow, you're just kind of starting your year and you've got to make that very big decision that you're going to retire after a big career here. So, but I think it's fair, and we'll take it on a case-by-case basis.
And we just went through a few-month negotiation with TTA. This didn't even come up.
And it's
If it's a concern,
January
it didn't even
1st
come
in the
up.
new language, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I can tell you from speaking with legal counsel last year, January 1's a late date, Sue. Most districts, it's November, December, because that way you can plan better for budgeting season. So we're already late in comparison to a lot of districts.
Do you think we should have a motion to?
I'll make a motion to
Yeah.
deny this request.
I'll second that.
Motion to deny is the, and Sean, you're seconding?
Correct.
So Kim makes the motion, Sean is seconding. Any other discussion? I do want the message to be clear that we're saying on a case-by-case basis,
What about
Absolutely.
the word deny a little
January
bit?
1st due date.
deny the suggestion of March 31st?
Mm-hmm.
Or how about we're not in favor of,
Well, is there a way to
soften that word?
Say motion to accept, and then you vote in the negative.
Can we change that
That we just
motion?
did.
Opposed?
A
I'm
motion
with
to-
you, Sue. I just feel like I would like to somehow convey that,
Yeah.
you know, we will consider these on a case-by-case basis.
Had
make a
people
motion to
way
amend
at the
it.
late.
Make a motion to amend it,
Amend what?
your motion.
No. I'll withdraw my, what would
Okay,
you, like,
thank you.
I'll,
Okay,
let me
Kim's gonna
withdraw my
start again.
motion. John, you want to withdraw your second? We'll make it in the affirmative.
What if I don't?
If you don't,
Well,
then
then
we're
we're
gonna
at a-
amend it. Just withdraw it.
I withdraw it.
See, it's 10:15. Okay,
Come
so
on, I'm
are
trying to
we
have the
going to
halo.
change the to a softer term there? How do you want to say it?
Go ahead, Kim.
To me,
Not accepting,
make it that we oppose the recommendation being made, or we are not in favor of the recommendation being made. However, we will continue to accept retirements on a case-by-case basis after January 1st.
Or we ratify the January 1st
review retirement.
due date,
We need something better than that.
and then we'll take, the board
I
will
think it
take
should be something
consideration
like
of any.
with-
I like that better.
Stick
Yeah.
on
That's a
January
good,
1st.
that was good, Sean.
Yeah, I like that.
Go with it.
Say that again? What?
Sean?
The motion is to ratify the January 1st due date for retirements, and that the school board will entertain any applicant afterwards on a case-by-case basis.
Incentive to be able to go until March.
Yeah.
Any requests?
Any requests?
Not on a case-by-case basis, that's what I'm just.
I'll second that motion.
So we're just reaffirming our January 1st
Yes,
date.
that's
Right.
all.
That's all we're doing.
Ratify sounds,
Okay.
The reaffirm.
reaffirm.
You okay with that, Sean?
I will take that as a
Reaffirm.
reaffirm. How's that?
Thank you.
Can you,
My Halo
Any other
8.
discussion you want to have on this?
can we hear the motion, please?
Yes, Mr. O'Neill, motion to reaffirm the January 1st due date for retirement notification and the school board will entertain any requests on a case-by-case basis, seconded by
Beautiful.
Dr.
Yeah,
Farah.
perfect, thank you.
So Sean's made that motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, Lee, because I don't think we got that.
I thought Kim
Yeah, Kim
seconded
did
it.
do it.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll triple.
Kim's, so Lee removed, see, Kim is seconding. Thank you. Okay, unless there's other discussion.
I do, I'm sorry, because this is the newbie in me again. It's the incentive, though. It's not just, I mean, anyone can retire at any point in time. It's the
yeah.
incentive, but do we
It's-
need to
it's
have that in the
those-
motion?
It's those few,
I mean,
no.
okay,
It's
well, that's
those
what I
few
just wanted to
people
make
that
sure.
are,
You put it in the motion, when you, for those requests. Those specific
So
requests that
specific
come
requests,
after.
right, when that comes before us, well, I just didn't know if we needed the word incentive in this current motion, because that's really what they're asking about. It's not the right to retire at any point in time, it's to have
It's
that
to get them-
additional incentive that if they don't put it in by January 1st, they would have had that extension, so. I just didn't know if we needed to say that we would review the incentive on a case-by-case basis. You following what I'm saying?
Right.
As opposed, because, I mean, somebody comes to you at any point in
Somebody
time,
came
says, I need to
in-
retire today, we're gonna do it.
Right. Or we could
We could deny
you
it,
could
but-
deny it,
but
and
my
then
point
they
is-
could still retire.
But my point is that all of a sudden, what we don't wanna have is like, 20 teachers come in and dump this on us at one point, and then we have the incentive issue.
So we could fix
So
that
I'm just
just
wondering if
by,
we just
and
need
the
that
school board
word.
will entertain incentive requests on a case-by-case basis. Does that
I'm
cover
just
it?
saying just the word
Retirement
incentive in there,
Perfect.
so.
Retirement
incentives.
incentive.
It's not a
This is
big
great.
number of
Just come out
people.
with a base motion and then everybody fills
Yeah,
it.
it's like
I think we
I am
did
too. My
3
attention,
last
I'm like-
spring,
Okay.
case by case
Fill in the
basis.
blank, I need a verb, an adjective.
Okay, are we ready?
They're ready.
All those in favor? 9. Opposed, 0. Thank you very much for that. Moving along, where are we here? Okay, annual report. None of you sent me anything. So I'm gonna plug away, I know.
I'm new. I don't have anything to give.
You're not gonna be able to keep saying new.
I know,
after a
but
while.
but when that came out, it asked all this stuff. I'm like, I haven't
Okay,
been on the board
so
long enough to give you
I'll
any
write
information.
away, and I'll send you some stuff that I've got, and,
Yes, I can.
try to get that done, because obviously we want it in the annual report, so we're tabling that discussion, because we don't have anything to discuss. Administrators report.
You have them in your packets. You have more information from the schools, right? Oh,
Yep.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Didn't recognize me. Oh.
The chair recognizes the good Dr. Wilson.
All right.
There you go.
I'll give mine.
Sure.
Which one?
I know where we are.
You have materials in your packet, and I just want to make sure that you've seen them. You have 6 executive summaries.
Yes.
One about the middle school gym floor. One about the anti-bullying initiative. One about the sewer odor at the high school. The one is the ruptured sprinkler at Atkinson Academy. And one was the low temperatures at the classroom at Sandown North. And the PAC exterior walls, which we took previously as an agenda item. Those are your executive summaries that you had requested. As well, the business office procedures were submitted to the DOE, Department of Ed, that's in your packet. Written legal opinions relative to the default budget were referenced at the public hearing, I believe are in your packet. I think is that an email?
One's an email and one's a letter.
Hang on, because
One's an email that I already sent you, and the letter from another law firm, which I already sent you these 2 electronically, but here they are in print.
I think you'd ask them to put them in the packets.
You had asked about service contract inventory showing district-wide multi-year contracts. That's in there. Thank you. We apologize, there's a couple of typos in that. We can get that fixed. Strategic Planning Committee membership list you asked for.
Yes,
That's in
thank you
there.
so much.
You're welcome. 2018-19 assessment calendar, that came from
That came from CNA.
CNA. Yep. And then there's the 2018 completed auditors report. We gave that to you ahead of time. We are going to be putting it as an agenda item, I believe, maybe at the next meeting.
We'll see.
All right.
There it is.
And then you also have a copy of the summons for the members of the school board in the matter of Robert Collins et al. Versus TRSB. So that's all the information you have, which hopefully is going to allow you to.
And a lot of these were also posted electronically.
Yes.
I think everything's posted. Most everything's posted.
Go ahead.
The executive summary on the bullying piece, the one thing that I think is missing, I thought we had talked about, I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact discussion, but a copy of the procedure.
Yes.
The board still has not received a copy of the actual procedure that goes with that JIC policy.
So if I may speak, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I believe that the directive was because the bullying presentation was not going to be presented this evening because of the inavailability of some administrators, that at a minimum, they would put together an update in executive summary form as an information piece, as a holdover for the full presentation.
But aren't our procedures online with our policies?
Oh, I don't know that was a specific request when it was determined that administration couldn't be here to present that.
So let's make a motion then, Jen, that we would, go ahead, that when this is discussed and presented at the school board meeting, that the procedure is also clarified, laid out, discussed.
Would just like a copy of
that's
the,
fine.
can we just get a
Yeah,
copy of
copy
the
of the-
procedure email?
Just want a copy of the
Just let
form?
us, yeah.
Just want a copy of what the procedure is.
That's it.
Okay.
Wow.
I
Okay,
agree with you. It doesn't,
Yeah, I mean, and it should be posted in the procedure section.
Right.
Have you looked up
So
there?
this is the reporting.
I
meeting.
haven't looked in a while, but
Okay.
last time I looked, it was not.
All right.
So it's what the reporting procedure. Is it what
Yeah,
you're?
what is the, there's a
It's
procedure that goes
JICKR.
with that.
Oh.
There's an
it's
R.
R, there's an R.
We'll get that to you.
And you can see in the summary that the no bully personnel that are here are reviewing our procedures and are reviewing our policies that are currently in place so that they well understand them as they create these solution teams that Brian and Sarah and Kristen and I went to that workshop and they talked to you about that they're doing that. So,
Great.
okay.
I also want to bring to your attention, we are fortunate enough to receive some donations that are in your packet. Dr. Metzler accepted one for the school district in the amount of $500 from Health Trust, and that will be used towards the Wellness Fair initiative and activities. And also, we received a $1,000 donation from Walmart to be used as an offset for the government club initiatives and activities. So I wanted to bring those to your attention.
We need action on the second one. It's $1,000.
Where is this in here?
I don't have those.
Oh,
I don't think
you don't?
No, it,
Sorry.
It's okay, just tell us.
The check. She's got the check. That's the most important thing. It's always important to have the check.
accepting?
You are accepting a check in the amount of $1,000 from Walmart.
So I need a motion to
for the
accept.
youth government initiative, yeah.
Thank you.
Accept
Motion
the
to accept the
donation.
$1,000 donation from Walmart for youth government.
I'll second.
Second, motion by Jen, second by Sheila. All those in favor? Kim votes yes too.
Yes.
9-0-0.
Thank you. And thank you to Walmart and
Yes, thank you to
to
Walmart.
Health Trust. Health Trust, $500.
Oh, and that's for the
For the
health
health
fair?
fair.
For the
Health
health
Get
fair.
it? Health,
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you.
Which, by the way,
No
while we're bringing,
personnel
hang
report.
on. While we're bringing up wellness, I really could use somebody on the wellness committee. We have not been able to meet. They meet at 4 o'clock on Thursdays, the first Thursday of the month, and we haven't been able to meet because we only have one member. Anybody?
Sure, I'll jump in there, so.
Okay, Sheila, I'll get to you, thank you very much, because now we're starting to plan some events, and by statute, by subcommittee, we're supposed to have that meeting. So Sheila, thank you, I'll get you the exact date we're gonna meet, and Susan Rassico is the co-chair of that, so that'd be great, she'll be happy. It's a very big committee, it's got one of everybody on it, so. Thank you. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's all I have.
Anything else? Correspondence folders going around, vendor and payrolls went around. Any other business that you wish to bring up tonight?
My question, she won't look at me.
Yes, yeah,
Do this.
because we want to go into non-public about the minutes.
Right.
Was she over here?
Kristen has something.
Can I really quick question?
Sure.
Just the executive summary on the middle school floor.
Floor?
Yeah, it just talks, it kind of seems like it got to a point, are we doing this work? It says the scope of the work would not exceed $20,000. Are we doing that? Is it coming, or is it on hold, or?
I don't know the answer to that. I
don't
think the
know the
last
answer.
question was, Jen had asked, what was the cost associated with repairing the floor? And I think that's what the executive summary responds to.
Okay, because it just kind of stops, so there's no.
Mr. Geary will have to speak to that. I
There's
don't know
no
the
statement
answer.
as to whether we're doing it, or if we're looking for money, or what we're doing,
Well, I
so
think
if we can
I
just.
think I asked because the last one had some reference to getting. I don't remember the last one.
No, there were
I'm just
cracks in
curious-
the floor, and you were
Yeah.
like, well, what is it gonna cost us to
No, there
refinish
was,
this?
but the conclusion had a. Had a recommendation.
Right.
If we can just get a.
Are you talking about the Atkinson?
No,
middle
middle
school.
middle school.
From the front to the first page. And it just kind of it
So
says
you
we.
want to know if the floor will be repaired?
Yeah, what's
based
happening?
on-
Are we able to do that, or is that on hold,
Are we
or?
have to hold, or are we gonna have to wait, or?
I think it'd be good on the executive summaries that we get if we added another section in there. And, I don't know what you'd call that section, but just a quick thing, action requested of school board, yes or no? And if so, what action, or is it advisory only? Is this just an FYI, or are you looking for us to actually do something? Are you asking us something of us?
I think that if there was a question about doing something, they would have put it in that. I think it was, they're being provided for informational purposes, so that members don't have, administrators don't need to come to board members.
Which I think it's
Fair
great,
enough.
it's just,
you
what's
the
that next
information.
step, what,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's all I want to know,
Yeah.
so.
And at your leisure, if you have a time to look this over and you have other questions, get them to me, I'll get them to Tom.
I've also asked that, because there's a series of them, that whoever is authoring them puts their name on it.
I agree.
So I've already talked to.
Thank you, thank you. It's got initials there, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
That
I
wasn't
like
the
to know
one I
where
asked
it's
about,
coming from.
actually. I
too.
asked about the sewer one, sorry.
Okay, other business before we go back to the minutes that we didn't finish?
Yep.
Yes, Sheila, was you, yes?
Other business, oh geez, now I'm lost. Do you have any idea, Dr. Wilson, sorry, I'm back on this thing again. The
That's
Atkinson
this thing.
sprinkler blowing
Executive summary.
executive summary, do we know if we're covered?
I think we have at least reported,
Okay, all right.
so.
Because it looked like, you're looking at the pictures and
Yeah, I'm sure there's some coverage there, but
They
I
put a
also
claim
know.
in.
They've put a claim.
that's what I'm asking, if there
It's
was,
in the back.
Usually, they
Yeah.
check to make
Right
sure
there.
they can put in a claim before they put in a claim. but
Okay,
it doesn't
sorry.
mean-
It looks like
really
there's-
long night.
Looks like there's some culpability on the,
Well, and
the
that's-
fire alarm company.
Well, wait,
That's why the insurance companies are gonna be talking to one another.
Okay,
so,
all right, because I was just looking at the
the
pictures and I was
building's
like,
safe
ooh.
and. Anything else before we go into non-public?
So are we we're planning on getting our, Mrs. Rosico, hopefully, it's not gonna be the 7th, because we won't have a
21st
meeting,
is-
the
So I think
21st.
it's the
Penciled in.
February,
She had penciled us in, I believe, for whatever the next February meeting is, 20 something or other?
20-something.
21, 22, whatever.
Same
She
night
had
of the-
committed to that.
Public hearing on Jack's article.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I will have to add that.
Public.
At least right now, that's what she said, so. Okay, anything else? If not, we want to go into non-public under what?
See?
Or what?
God bless you.
C?
Yes.
Yeah, they would be.
Okay, can I entertain a motion to go into non-public under 91?
I'll make a motion to go into non-public under 91A:3, paragraph 2C, matters which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a school board member.
I second it.
Thanks, Sheila. Pull the board, Mrs.
Kim?
Mr. Boyle?
Yes.
Mr. Doobie?
Yes.
Dr. Farah? Ms. Lowe's?
Yes.
Mrs. Malcolmer?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mrs. Savage?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Mrs. Silva?
Yes.
We won't be coming back.
And at 10
We can
p.m.
set- We're going to adjourn, so after this, thank you very much, Dean. So